So I remember you telling me that you grew up in Pimlico, right?
When I was growing up, it was in Pimlico, which was like a side street, and it was a bungalow, a big bungalow. And we had a garden on the left side, and on the right side we had a huge lawn. And my dad put a bucket, not a bucket, a bathtub in the yard, on the corner of the yard, and used it for flowers. Flowers went around it, and he made like a pond there in the bathtub. And I remember that distinctly. And then on the side we had trees, which were flower trees, to separate the two houses, because they were both big bungalows. And my house had upstairs front porch and a back porch that you could walk out on with the railings and look around, you know. And I was trying to think of everything.
Now that was in Pimlico.
That was in Pimlico.
So
that's where I was raised.
Got it.
When I was growing up, Catherine was still with us. Harold was in the Navy. That was her brother. Was my stepbrother.
So your stepsister and stepbrother, Catherine and Harold.
Yeah. And then Catherine eventually died. She had pneumonia. And then there was Olive, was her oldest sister, and Alice, and Owen, and Roland, and me and Charlotte.
So Charlotte was the
Charlotte
youngest,
was the baby.
and you were right below her.
Right below her.
Above her, right.
Yeah, she was the baby.
Okay.
So I guess it was, say, 7 or 8 of us.
Yeah, right, because
growing
of
up.
the step
Yeah.
brother and sister. Well,
There was actually 6 of our immediates, and then.
Like, what was it like living day to day? Because it wasn't like this. It wasn't like kids today.
Every Sunday, no. It had a huge table. My dad built this table because he was a carpenter, and he made this huge table that would go from that corner to the window.
Right.
And every Sunday we had the Washington crowd, which was my mother's family. Would come because my mother was the oldest of 10. And so they would all come to our house and she would do the cooking.
She was the oldest of 10.
She was oldest of 10.
Wow.
And not all of them, but at least 2 or 3 of the families would come to my mom's house, and she would stay up all night making homemade rolls.
Every Sunday.
Every Saturday night, make homemade. I never had rolls like my mom made them. Never. I've never seen them. And she would fix a dinner for everybody. And the kids waited until they were served. And then we were able to go in and eat dinner. So that was
adults ate first, then the kids. Yeah,
all the adults, because they came from Washington, they were hungry.
Got it. Now you say Washington, like Washington, D.C.?
Washington, D.C.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So your grandmom, and your mom, Mam. I didn't know Mam because...
You didn't know Mam.
Because she passed away when I was before I was born.
That's right.
So what about her family? One thing I always remember you saying is that your grandmother...
What I remember, my granny, little 4-foot shrimp.
She was short?
Yeah, little 4-foot, about 100 pounds. But don't cross her.
Right. And she had red hair, right?
Yeah, but I didn't know it was red hair. She had white hair when I knew her. Yeah.
Right.
But she was good as gold, but didn't cross her.
Right.
She'd tell you what for.
Now, you said Mam had 10, she was the oldest of 10.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, did Mam grow up in D.C.? Was she from that area?
No, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, her family's all from North Carolina. That's why I'm so familiar with North Carolina.
I gotcha. Okay.
So, and then there was Papa, which was Granny's husband, was a big 6-foot.
So the 4-foot little tiny lady was married to a
6-foot, 250-pound man.
That's funny.
That was Papa.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
That's
that
nice.
was my granddad.
All right. So, your dad, So what?
My father, see, how can I put this?
That's okay. You can be honest. It's all right.
He was there and he wasn't there. I remember when I was 12 years old the first time he took off.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom had the police and the church and everybody looking for him, because he just took off.
He would just leave.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And after the first time, she didn't bother.
Mm-hmm.
She just knew that was him.
Mm-hmm. That's who he was.
He was going to take off when he felt like it and come home when he felt like it, and she just took him back.
Oh.
And I can vaguely remember the time she took him back, the last time she took him back. I even remember what he was wearing. He wore a blue shirt, really pretty blue shirt, when he came in the back door.
Mm.
And always, I mean, as far as a dad was concerned, what a better one.
Mm-hmm.
He was a play toy.
Right. He was there for fun.
He was there for fun.
Right.
And he loved us all,
Mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't harm anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just a vagabond.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that it was from if you can say it's hereditary, I don't think it is, but his mom used to do the same thing.
Well,
Just
I don't
take
know, because I have that same
Tendency
spirit.
to leave.
It's not to leave, but I have that restless
To run.
feeling.
Yeah.
The feeling of not wanting to stay in one place.
Right.
And I start to feel claustrophobic, and I start to, so I understand that feeling.
Well,
Now,
maybe it is.
I would never pick up and leave, but
No.
but I know that feeling. So part of how I
Mhm.
compensate for that is I keep myself busy. I like to do a lot of things.
Right.
I like to travel, because
Right.
traveling sort of satisfies that feeling of
Right.
needing to go,
Right.
So I understand that being in you.
Maybe it is an inherited
Because if you
thing.
think about it, some generations, like way back, Indian, Native American
They
days,
didn't stay on one
they
spot.
didn't. They migrated,
Yeah.
and it was in their nature to do that.
Right.
So, I don't know. I get it. I
Yeah.
kind of understand. But, yeah, I'm sure that was kind of hard for your mom, though.
Yeah, but it was, thank goodness, my brother Owen, who was the oldest one at the time at home, because he, even in the Navy, he sent every bit of the money home, and he took care of us.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. what a
Because
good-
otherwise we couldn't have survived.
Right. Now, what did you have to do around the house? Like, you always used to tell me.
I always had to, dusting was the first thing,
Uh-huh.
because I don't know, I must have been to the little thing, but dusting first. I had to dust every Saturday, was cleanup day, and I had to dust the whole house.
And then did you have chickens?
We had chickens, we even had ducks at one time.
Mm-hmm.
We had a huge garden.
Mm-hmm.
It's my dad.
You guys did a lot of self-food, like chickens,
Always.
eggs, growing room.
Always fresh food from the yard.
Mhm.
Everything was from the yard. Only thing, I remember going to the grocery store with my brother with the wagon,
Mhm.
and we bought flour, sugar,
Right. Things to bake.
things to build with, for the food.
Right.
But otherwise, nothing was in the store.
No air conditioning.
Oh no! But you didn't mind it because
Right.
we had this big open house.
Right. Kept the
you know,
windows open.
And I don't remember for sparring or anything like that. I don't remember that.
Did you go to school? How did
Went
you?
to school. I went to elementary school on. Let's see if I can remember the name of the street.
was gonna say.
It's off of. It was Reisterstown on one and Park Heights on the other,
Okay.
and it was in the middle. And I went to elementary school there, and then I went to junior high school, which is Garrison Boulevard.
Okay.
And I didn't stay in the other school.
High school?
I think,
Yeah.
junior high. I went to the 9th grade,
Okay.
and I left at the 9th grade because then they moved to another school, and so I quit.
Okay. So what did you do after
So
that?
I got a job.
Uh-huh.
And my first job was my sister. My sister and I both got a job together.
Which one?
Alice.
Alice. Okay.
And we got a job transmitting. I used to have like a dictaphone then. It was like a dictaphone
Mm-hmm.
that you put earplugs in.
And you just transcribed
and transcribe all medical
records.
medical records.
Huh.
And
So you were a teenager at that point.
I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were still living at home. Were you living at home?
Yeah, I was.
Pretty much?
Yeah.
Huh. So that was your first job, and you ended up carrying through and doing that for
The rest
pretty
of my
much your
life.
whole life, right?
Yeah.
Just different places, but
Mhm.
I know, yeah, I remember you worked at the Bayview for
And my
a long
typing,
time.
yeah, my typing was excellent.
Right.
I mean, I even got honors on my typing
Huh.
that time. I couldn't do it now.
Oh, I used to love typing too.
Yeah, but I did. I was excellent typist. So I did on medical records.
So when did you meet Poppy? Like, how did all that come about?
My brother Owen and Virginia, and I was 16 or 17,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to go to the roller rink, and my mom let me go because I couldn't go anywhere at that time without my brothers,
Right.
one or the other.
Right.
So they would take me
Okay.
to the roller rink, and I learned they had an instructor there, and you could rent shoes, and they would teach you. So my mother took me like early before the crowd got there, like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening, and then we would go, and I learned how to skate. And while I was there one time, there comes my husband with his buddies, and
Now you were about how old at that time?
17.
So right. So you were
Yeah,
you
it
had
was
a
like
job.
6 months.
Right. Right. No, but you had a job. Right?
Yeah, I had
You
a
were
job. I
working.
was working.
Mm-hmm. And you met him,
And
he was a little older,
I know, because my brother used to say you're robbing the cradle.
right? Because he was
He's
10
9 years.
10 years?
9 years.
9 years, okay.
Yeah. But he came over to me,
Uh-huh.
because I was standing on the sidelines, because like I said, I wasn't skating that well. And so I was standing there watching, and he came over, and his buddies came over with him, Dick Garrett, and he turned around to them and he said, "You leave her alone, she's mine."
That's funny.
I'll never forget it, because that was what it was the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
he was very jealous.
Right, right,
And so I couldn't even look at anybody else.
right. Kind of insecure a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So, but wound up getting married 6 months later.
6 months. Wow. Now, I remember you always telling me that you were really nervous about getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nervous.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Did you think you were going to back out?
Yeah, and the pastor even asked me, "Are you sure? Are you love him? Are you sure you want to get married?" But I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Poppy was from West Virginia.
Yeah.
So, what was he doing in Maryland? Like, what brought him? Like,
He was working here
Okay.
because it was during the war.
That's right, and there were no jobs.
There were no jobs,
Mhm.
and so right after before the war, he got a job there at Montgomery Ward's, and right after the war, he went right back
I gotcha. So you didn't really know him while he was in
in the
the
service.
service.
No,
right, because this was after he
this
came
is
back.
all after the war,
Okay.
World War II.
Okay. So Poppy was a nice looking man.
Yeah.
He was. He was a nice looking man. So I
Yeah.
can totally see how you were probably swept off your
Yeah.
feet a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, wedding. What was your wedding like?
My wedding-
You wore that pretty suit. Like it was like a.
It was what do you call it? Eyelet
Mhm.
material,
Right.
and it was cotton, all
Uh-huh.
cotton. And my sister Alice bought it for me. She dressed me up.
Oh.
She had me get my nails done and everything the night before. And that's what I wore.
Okay.
It was all white.
Mhm. And how was
So-
where did you get married? Like where was?
I got married in the church,
Okay.
Presbyterian.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
church that I was going to all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
In fact, we had like a meeting with the pastor before,
Mhm.
the both of us.
Now you told me some stories. You always used to tell me stories about like his Poppy's mom. She was a handful, right?
She was a witch.
That's okay. I know it's good stories.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that because she was good to me.
Right, but she was a tough woman.
She was a tough lady.
Right.
And that's where Dad got his jealousy, because she was very, very jealous of him.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget when she came to my mother's house.
Mhm. Now she lived in In Burnsville, so right?
Yeah,
She lived in
Burnsville, West Virginia.
right?
But she came to my mother's house, and I don't know how she got there, with one of the kids
Right.
brought her or what, but anyway, she came to my mother's house because to see us when we were going away for the wedding. That's what she came for.
Okay.
And we got ready to go on our honeymoon, and she stayed at my mother's house till we left.
Okay.
And she was there when we came back. And I remember going to the car like it was yesterday, and she's hollering at him, "Don't you forget you have a mother."
Oh no. Aw. And he would have been 26 at that time.
27.
27, right. So not a young kid anymore.
No.
But still, Mom was very much...
Very much, because he was the only boy.
Okay.
He lost his brother at 14 years old.
Oh, okay.
And the rest of it was girls.
And was he wasn't the oldest. Was he the oldest?
He was the oldest.
Right, because
they were all girls.
Right, he was the old, but was he the oldest sibling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in their family, it was 7 of them. He was the oldest.
Oldest of 7. Now I knew Aunt Irene.
Yeah, that
I
was
knew her
his
well.
mom. Yeah.
Aunt Irene was his sister.
Yes.
She was older than him, right? Irene?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a little older. Aunt Josephine.
Yeah.
I knew Josephine.
Josephine was younger. Josephine was
She was
clutch.
Yes. Right.
She was, because he was made to take care of Josephine at an early age.
Okay.
And
He was
so
always...
she was always on her lap. Always
Depending.
there. Yeah, always.
And Aunt Irene, always reminded me of a very independent type person.
Yeah, she was.
I just remember growing up.
And Aunt Bessie was the other sister.
Yeah, and I don't know.
You don't
remember
remember
that well.
her? No.
Yeah. So.
No, Donna does. Because she had a farm.
That would have been Uncle Brent, right?
Uncle Brent and
Right.
Bessie, yeah.
Yeah, I vaguely remember
They always
that.
had a farm.
Yeah, I was closer with Aunt Irene's family.
Yeah, Irene was more in the city.
Right.
Or if you call it city.
Yeah. Burnsville. You would have called that the city. I remember when they got a movie theater, right? You were like...
Oh, yeah, I remember that too. Yeah.
So when you and Poppy got married, right after you got married, where did you live? Like, did you guys... You didn't get this house right away. I remember.
Oh, no.
Right.
I didn't get this house till I was working. And
Right.
It was after the war, and they were selling really cheap.
Right.
And you could use your VA.
Got it. And Poppy used
And
the
Poppy
VA.
had VA, so
Right.
that's how we got
Now this house was built. You guys had this house built, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was brand new when
Brand
you moved
new.
in. And moved in. And I think I remember Mom was like a baby,
Yeah.
and Uncle Bill was
Yeah.
like 2 or something. Right?
Mom was, actually, Mom wasn't born.
Oh, okay. So it was just Uncle Bill.
Yeah, Uncle Bill was 4.
Okay. And you were...
Because I remember he wouldn't come in.
Oh. That's funny.
I can still see him standing outside at the curb, and Aunt Virginia's trying to get him in the house.
That's funny.
Come in. That's not my house.
That's funny. Do you remember where you lived beforehand? Do you remember where you lived beforehand?
Where I lived before him in Brooklyn, Maryland.
Oh, okay, Brooklyn.
Yeah,
No,
off Curtis Bay.
Wow, okay, yeah, I know that area well.
Yeah.
Did you guys have an apartment?
An apartment, a first floor apartment. It had a backyard. And I think I had my dog, if I remember.
Yeah.
And real close friends to my next door neighbor, which was row homes like this. And we had a back porch, an adjoining back porch, and we opened it up.
So you could just free.
So, yes, so we were free to go. And her son and my son, Bill, were 10 months apart.
So they had a play partner.
So she worked, I didn't work. And I was his babysitter.
Okay.
Dougie, I still get cards from Dougie.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's nice.
still do.
And Poppy was working at Montgomery Ward.
Poppy was working at Montgomery Ward's, and I was taking care of Dougie and Bill. So I didn't work for a long time.
Right.
But yeah,
You stayed home.
I stayed home and took care of Bill and Doug.
About when did you start working again? Because I remember, when I was a child, I remember you working. So when you took time off with the kids?
I took time off And I took about 6 months, I think, I took off, and then I went back to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right. That's not bad.
yeah. And then I had you to take care of, and I used to take you back and forth to school on the
Yes.
on the bus or car or whatever it was.
I actually specifically remember our walks to and from the bus stop.
Yeah,
Little Tavern.
yeah.
Always past Little Tavern.
Yeah.
And we would go all the way down to Dunlop
Remember the
Avenue.
thunderstorm we got caught in?
Yep, I did. I thought it was the most fun ever. You were probably scared. You were probably like, oh my gosh, and here's me jumping in the puddles.
Then I came home and the dog had peed all over the place.
Yes, because she was scared.
nervous.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. We used to take the bus.
Yeah.
We used to ride the bus, and it was like the Presbyterian daycare or something
Yeah, it was a
down there in Old
daycare.
Dundalk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do. I remember that. I actually have very specific memories of the
Yeah.
thunderstorm and Little Tavern and
Right.
yeah, that whole like walkway coming
Mhm.
up. So we must have done it. We must have done it every day, all the
Oh,
time.
we did it.
So because
Yeah,
it's
long
enough
time.
that I can remember.
Oh, yeah, it was a long time.
So back to Mom and Uncle Bill and everybody. And you moved in here. Then you had Mom, right? Mom
Yeah.
and Mom went to school right up the street.
Your mother did, but Billy didn't. Billy went down O'Donnell,
Okay,
and then they built this one because Donna went to this one.
right.
She didn't go to O'Donnell, but Billy did.
Okay,
He went to the first grade there, and then they built this one.
and then they went here.
Yeah.
And Mom grew up here.
And Mom started here. Yeah.
Okay, and this is the only house Mom has ever known,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And how was it? How was life with Mom? I remember you telling me she used to run away a lot, or
That was the
Why?
worst part.
right?
Because I don't know how many
Kinda-
times I called police.
Kind of like your father, just kind of.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just
The last time I remember for a long time going to look for a job, and then I stopped looking because I came home and my neighbors met me at the bus stop, which was Halliburton Avenue,
right.
and met me at the bus stop and took me home and I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Well, I don't want to upset you, but your daughter's missing."
Oh,
And they found her at Billy's school, O'Donnell,
okay.
was a police guard,
Oh.
was holding her. But she left here
And wandered all the way down.
wandered down the middle of the street. They caught her running down the middle of the street to the school.
Oh, wow.
Not on the sidewalk, on the street.
Right,
So the Lord looked after her because she could have been killed.
right,
The
right.
truck driver picked her up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Can you imagine? So did you stay home with her then for a little while?
Yeah, I didn't look for a job for
Right.
a long time until I put her in daycare.
Got it. Until she got a little older.
Yeah, she was, because I think she was maybe 3 or 4 when I did that. And I just
You were like,
decided I would take in kids, and that's what I did.
So you
I
babysat.
babysit kids.
Oh, good.
That's when I started watching Dougie and different ones.
Good.
So,
That was a smart move.
yeah. So I didn't go back to work until she went to school. She was in kindergarten or something.
Right.
And I would
Yeah.
drop her off and pick her up.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now, I know Mom only went to 8th grade.
I quit in the 8th grade also.
Right.
And she always liked to do hair.
Mhm.
That was her,
Hobby.
it was like something in her blood that she always did mine, you know. And I remember the first time she cut it, because that's when I sent her to barber school, to
Okay.
hairdressing school.
Mhm.
And she used me for a trainer. First time I didn't have any hair left in the back. But that's what she did, and she always liked to do it, liked to mess with hair and stuff, and so I sent her to cosmetology school. And conveniently is that her best friend, Paige Jean, lived on the
Right.
corner,
Yep.
and she went there
Okay.
to cosmetology school, and that's how I learned about it.
Mhm.
So I sent her there, and that was the best thing I ever did,
Yeah.
because then she was able to get a job and take care of herself.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
But I'm like my mother believed,
Right.
if you can't go to school,
Do
then
it.
go to trade
Yes,
school.
yes.
Or, learn something.
Right. Exactly.
And then you can get a job.
Right, and I think that was smart. So now, my mom and dad.
Your mom and dad, they
Yeah.
met when they were only 16.
And
And
it was blind date.
It was a blind date.
So when Mom brought Dad home, how did that go?
That went fine, except that she said, you're not getting married until you're 18.
Okay.
And I remember them sitting out in the car a lot of times, but they weren't allowed to get married until they were 18.
And whose rule was that? Was that yours?
That was my mom's.
Mine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they got married, and I remember they lived.
I remember I cried when when she left.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, Uncle Bill went in the Navy, then Mom got married, so yeah, everybody left.
Cried when my sister left.
Right.
Alice, because I was really close to her.
Okay. And Uncle Rolly too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Uncle Rolly and then we were like twins.
Right.
Yeah. We were kids. We used to talk about getting married.
Oh,
you know,
right. Yeah, right. Because you're really close.
Little kids.
Yeah. How many years apart were you and Uncle Rolly?
3 or 4.
Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
all.
And he was older.
He was oldest.
Right.
Yeah.
He was a nice man.
Oh, sweetheart.
Yeah, I remember
He
growing
was
up, always going to North Carolina.
Always a
He was
sweetheart.
so good to me.
He would melt like butter.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Just a nice man.
Anything you want, you can have. That's the way he treated me.
Right.
You know, anything you want, you can have.
Yeah.
As kids even. So.
And Aunt Alice, you guys were really close too.
And Alice was a different sort.
Right.
She's high-tempered.
Right.
Very strong-minded. And only one in the family I knew that fought with my mother. Actually fought with my mother.
Right. Right.
You know,
Just
talked back to her and all that kind of stuff. But she was high-spirited and
Right.
and a strong, temper.
Right.
So I remember one time she threw the dishes and broke them in the kitchen. At Owen because they were fighting. So she was a trip.
Aw. And then Charlotte. Charlotte was the.
Charlotte was a baby.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know that much of it. She wasn't home much.
Right. And
So we didn't have too close a relationship.
right, and you were older, so you
I was
probably
older.
moved out and
Yeah.
yeah.
But when she got married very young at 16,
Mm-hmm.
and he was in the service, and so she was gone a lot. So to this day, I don't have a close relationship with her.
Right,
You know.
right.
But I mean, I love her dearly, but
Right.
she's not the same as what Alice was.
I remember Mom and Dad moved. They lived down here for a little bit, down at the apartment.
Yeah, in one of those
Yeah.
apartments down there,
Yeah.
second floor, I think.
And they moved to Bristol when I was 2, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
I moved to Bristol. And it was hard for you. Because I can still see your hands on the window,
Right.
screaming when they left. I mean, you were actually screaming your head off when they left. So, but I wouldn't stay with them a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did.
All right. Yeah, I think I kind of remember, but not really.
You were still in a
I
crib.
do, yeah.
I remember being there and you said, "Hi, Uncle Bill." So where'd you get that accent from?
Picked it up easily.
Yeah, you were in a crib when they went to Bristol.
Right. It was a couple years though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. They lived
yeah, it
down there.
was.
So Poppy, you and Poppy, what were some of the things that you guys like to do? Like, what were some things? Because you guys, I mean, I don't know. From what I remember, I feel like Poppy was pretty, like, he was pretty active. He liked to do a lot. He's very social.
We had to be going somewhere all the time.
Right.
And he had his Montgomery Ward's crowd.
Right.
So we were always going on a trip or of some kind that they would, get together. His social club, I called it, from Montgomery Ward's. And they planned different trips, and we would go on trips all the time. We were always going to move, going somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And basically, that's what we did the whole time until.
What were some of the
Yes,
trips?
away.
What were some of the things you did?
Yeah, we went to different states, and we did
Bus
road
trips.
trips, and we'd be on a bus most of
Right,
the
bus
time. And
trips,
so we
right.
played bingo and things like that on the bus.
Huh.
So basically, that's what we did.
Yeah, I think you and Uncle Owen and Aunt Virginia were pretty close too, right? Did you
Yeah,
guys
we
do
were,
some stuff
yeah.
with them a lot? I
Yeah.
remember growing up just hearing you guys talk about those things.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Owen drove, so a lot of times we went on trips with them.
Because they had a camper.
They had a camper.
Right.
So.
And then you guys used to walk a lot, right? In the mall.
Oh, yeah, later on when he retired,
Mm-hmm.
he retired before I did.
Right,
Yeah, 5 years actually.
right.
And so he started the walking, and then when I retired, I started the walking. And we walked them all every day from 8 o'clock till lunchtime.
Right, I can remember going
Yeah.
when I can actually remember my kids going with you.
Yeah.
At least Ariel.
Oh,
Ariel
yeah,
did.
yeah. But I did that for many, many years, 15, 20 at least.
Now, you didn't drive until you were older.
I was in my 30s. I think I was actually 30. And I finally had enough of this. And I went to driving school
Right?
and I got my license.
Huh. And that's kind of interesting because when you were little, well, I mean, our kids grow up with cars all the time. It's like a regular thing. But when you guys,
We didn't have cars.
right.
Remember the first car we had in the family? My brother bought the soda.
Uh-huh.
And it had a rumble seat.
Huh.
And Rolly and I would sit in the rumble seat, and he would take us to Washington to see the family.
Oh,
So,
that's
I
kind of neat.
remember
Do
that.
you remember that?
oh yeah,
What was it like driving
in a rumble seat.
to DC and to Washington? Like,
Yeah, it was fun. It wasn't like today because
Right.
it wasn't as busy as today. But I remember when he had a blowout and he had to stop the car and fix the tire. Yeah.
So that makes sense that, you would get older and then wait to get a driver's license. And you actually didn't you didn't graduate, but you went back and got your,
I went back and got my degree.
Right.
I went to night school.
When did you do that? I remember, because I think you were trying to talk Mom into doing that with you or something.
Probably when I wasn't watching you because I was, and to get a better job because I was already working. And they said if I would get my degree, I would get a raise. And that's when I was working for, was it social service? So that's what I did. I went to night school and tried to get your mother to do it.
Yeah. She had a hard time with school.
Yeah,
What were some of your jobs that you had? You worked at Bayview?
that's the only ones that I remember was working at Bayview, and then I got this job.
Social services?
Oh, I worked at Maryland General Hospital first.
Okay.
With my sister Alice.
Okay,
And then I went and got the Bayview job.
okay. What was probably one of the hardest things, like maybe most challenging things that you remember throughout your life? Like now, I mean, you're what? You just turned 90.
Yeah.
90. That's like almost a whole century.
I told you. I said you beat the odds.
Oh, that's almost a whole century. Do you have anything that comes to mind as something
When my
that...
dad left, I guess, was one of the hardest ones. Because we never knew. It was always on the...
Right, is he going to come back?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
And we loved our father.
Right.
That's one of the main things. But, too many hardships, I don't remember.
Right. They just
Which
sort
is a
of...
good thing.
What were some of the things that you liked, like hobbies or things that you really like doing yourself personally? Do you like to read?
Yeah, well, basically, that's what I did. Like reading or, I used to crochet, but I can't do that.
That's right. You sure did.
I can't do
You used
that
to break
anymore.
all those
My
awesome
fingers
blankets.
still
No,
work.
but I know. But I have a lot of
Yeah.
blankets that you made me.
And embroidery.
Right. I
I did all
remember.
that kind of stuff.
Needlepoint.
Needlepoints, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I did all that.
How about your pets? You've always had who do I remember? You had Chang.
Oh, my kitty cats?
Yeah.
Cricket was the first.
Cricket was the first one.
Let her
We're not
talk.
supposed to talk.
Okay, he was Cricket. Cricket was your dog.
She was my baby.
And what kind of dog was it?
She was a little terrier.
Right.
A little
Yelpy.
Spitfire terrier.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but she was my baby. She really was. Had her for 15 years until finally her bladder gave up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Then who came next? After?
Then after that was
All right, Melanie. When did Melanie hit the scene?
Melanie was Billy's dog.
Right.
And I bought her, believe it or not, I bought her through the mail
Uh-huh.
in the magazine. That's how I got her.
That was Princey. We went from Melanie to Princey.
Okay.
Okay, it was-
Princey.
it was Princey
What
first.
type of dog was Princey?
Princey was Pekingese.
I remember her.
Yeah.
I remember.
Very
Yes.
typical.
Yes.
She was a Spitfire.
She was another one.
Yeah.
Real yuppie.
Yeah. And not only that, you couldn't have her around people because, or it was a male
Right.
in the first place, which had never ever got another meal, anything. But he would bite people. You know, if he was jealous of me,
Right.
and Billy never bit either.
Right.
But because I bought him as a puppy for him.
Right.
But then he went into service, and I was stuck with the dog. And I loved him, you know, I didn't have a problem with him at all.
But he was not.
But
very
he
fun.
was not a family dog.
Right.
So
Melanie is who I remember.
Melanie's the one.
Right.
Yeah. And
Baby.
Yeah, that was a good dog.
she was a doll baby. Yeah. She wouldn't kill her own fleas, I
I know.
don't think.
She was a good dog. Now, Poppy passed away when Hunter was born, right before Hunter was born, literally like the month. It was literally a month apart, I remember. And then you took care of Hunter afterwards for a while, because this was, you know, like at that point, life on your own for the most part, really for the first time. How was life for you after that?
It was hard, but you know, it was
How long were you guys married?
55 years.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a long time
We
to
went
spend
to, we
with
had a
someone.
big celebration at your mother's house.
That's right.
The 50th.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a long time to coexist with somebody.
Right.
You know, and you get used to them being
And
around.
consider I was just a kid
Right.
when I
Right.
married him.
Right.
So I consider 17 as just a kid.
Right. No, it is.
But we had a great life. We really did.
How's it now being 90 and mom, you know, being 65?
Well, I think your mom thinks that she needs to take care of me, but that I don't feel that way.
Right. And you still have that, a lot of that independence.
Yeah.
The feeling of just wanting to be
Right.
independent.
Right.
Yeah. How does that make...
The worst part is not being able to drive.
Right. Right. Because then you can't get up and go.
No, you lose your independence that
Right.
way, but otherwise, I'm pretty much self-sufficient.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you take care of things and you're here, and
Right.
I think as I would imagine getting older, that would be the frustrating part.
Right.
Is just-
And I can't, Billy does most of cleaning the
Right.
house and stuff like that because
Right.
physically I can't do that.
Right. Right.
But
up until not too long ago,
recently I was
you
doing that.
yeah, you were doing that in the car,
Right.
taking care of the flowers in the garden, and
Right.
yeah. So you have, let's see, you have Mom and Uncle Bill.
Mhm.
And then grandkids, it's me and Danielle.
It's 4 generations.
Right. Me and Danielle, Melinda, Christopher.
Mhm.
You know, all 4 were over here all the time for like Christmas and all that
Yeah.
fun stuff. And then you have Hunter,
Mhm.
Ariel, Tori,
Tori.
Jaden, Tyson.
And Lily wasn't, she's recent.
Yes. She's like a baby.
She's recent.
If you could give advice to like Ariel and Hunter, like kids, because they're so much younger than you and now.
Yeah.
You grew up in a totally different time period. What is one thing you would tell them, like advice you would give them as they're like starting out in life? You know, what would you say? What's something?
Go for it.
Yeah. Don't stop.
Go for it and never stop learning
Right.
because you can always learn.
Right.
And when you stop learning, that's when you lose your mind.
I always said that. I always say the minute you stop
Right.
is the minute you die.